Top 5 famous celebrities whose graves were exhumed. Have you ever wondered what happens after a celebrity passes away? For some, their story doesn't end at the grave. In fact, their final resting place becomes the center of shocking mysteries and controversies, from Marilyn Monroe to Napoleon Bonaparte. Some of the most famous graves were exhumed, uncovering secrets that had been buried for decades. Stick around to discover the fascinating stories behind these famous exhumations. Marilyn Monroe, the unsolved mystery. When you think of Hollywood legends, Marilyn Monroe's name immediately comes to mind. Her beauty, her charm, and her tragic end have captivated the world for decades. Monroe passed away in 1962, leaving behind a legacy of mystery, particularly surrounding the circumstances of her death. Was it an accidental overdose, or was there something darker at play? In the 1980s, rumors and conspiracy theories about her death reached a boiling point, prompting the exhumation of her body. Investigators wanted to confirm once and for all what had happened to the iconic star. Was it suicide, or did someone have a hand in her untimely death? The exhumation and subsequent forensic examination did little to solve the mystery, and even today, the question of how Marilyn really died remains unanswered. The decision to exhume Monroe's body only deepened the intrigue. It raised more questions about the people around her and the shadowy world of Hollywood's elite. What really happened to Marilyn Monroe? Could the exhumation have revealed more than we were meant to know? Stick around to find out the shocking details. Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor's final resting place. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's most iconic leaders, died in exile on the island of St. Helena in 1821. His remains were buried there, but in 1840, French authorities decided to bring him back to France. Napoleon's body was exhumed and transported with full military honors, marking a highly symbolic moment for the French people. The return of his remains was part of a political effort to reclaim his legacy and national pride after his fall from power. The exhumation of Napoleon's body was not without controversy. It was a grand political gesture, symbolizing the restoration of the French monarchy. His remains were placed in a massive tomb at Les Invalides in Paris, where they remain today, drawing millions of visitors each year. The exhumation allowed for further examination of his remains, and modern studies have shown that Napoleon's cause of death was likely stomach cancer, though rumors of poisoning still circulate. Why was Napoleon's grave so important to the French? Stay with us to discover how this exhumation reshaped his legacy. Eva Peron, the controversial exhumation. Eva Peron, beloved First Lady of Argentina, passed away in 1952 from cancer at just 33 years old. After her death, her body became a symbol of her political legacy. However, just 5 years later, her body was stolen during a political upheaval. Peron's remains were hidden and moved multiple times as Argentina's political landscape shifted. The Argentine military junta, which overthrew her husband's government, took the body and buried it in a secret location. In 1976, after years of political turmoil, Peron's body was finally exhumed and returned to Argentina under the orders of the ruling government. She was reburied in a family crypt, restoring her place in the national consciousness. The exhumation was a symbolic act of reclaiming her legacy, though it also stirred up controversy over how her remains had been treated. Her exhumation sparked debates about political power and the manipulation of her memory. Why was Eva Peron's body exhumed so many times? Stay tuned to learn more about the bizarre and political journey of her remains. James Dean, the grave that was moved. James Dean, the iconic rebel without a cause, tragically died in a car accident in 1955 at the age of 24. His death shocked the world, and his grave became a site of constant visitation by fans, admirers, and curious onlookers. Dean's resting place in Fairmount, Indiana, became a pilgrimage spot for those who admired his talent and the tragic end of his life. However, in 1977, Dean's body was exhumed and moved to a different cemetery. The reason? Vandalism. His grave had been repeatedly desecrated, with people stealing items from it, leaving the family feeling it was no longer a safe resting place. The decision to relocate his body was made to preserve the sanctity of his final resting place and protect his legacy. The move didn't diminish his status as a cultural icon, but it did reflect the strange obsession with his untimely death. How did this move affect his legacy? Stay tuned to learn more about the fascinating story of James Dean's grave. Rudolph Valentino, a cult following's obsession. Rudolph Valentino, the heartthrob of silent films, passed away suddenly in 1926 at the age of 31, leaving fans devastated. His death sparked an unprecedented wave of grief, with thousands of mourners flocking to his funeral in New York. His untimely passing created a cult-like following, with many fans refusing to believe he was truly gone. A few years later, rumors began circulating that Valentino's body had been prematurely buried, and that it was not really him in the grave. In 1929, his body was exhumed to quell these rumors and confirm the circumstances of his death. The exhumation, however, led to more questions than answers, as strange stories about his burial persisted. Valentino's exhumation only deepened the mystery of his death and fueled the obsession surrounding his life and legacy. Why was his grave exhumed so soon after his death? Stay tuned to find out how this event added to the myth of Rudolph Valentino.